Recording again, and we are back as promised. Sorry about the last video taking 10 gajillion hours to go nowhere. Well, no, we got through a whole level in one video, points for that at least, but gee, did I just not say anything interesting. Sorry, I turned off the controller unplug noise, but if I just flicker weirdly, that's that happening. But anyway, I hope you can hear. Just listen to this. Wasn't that weird? We heard like a marine guy's voice we hadn't heard before. Hey look, aliens, suddenly things are normal again, but yeah, anyway. That was kind of weird, wasn't it? All through the game we've been finding dead marines just scattered around in places we'd expect to, because, you know, they're not as good at surviving as the Master Chief, they don't make it. We've been sent here after a kind of weird, panicked message from Cortana saying, you've got to save the captain, he's about to fuck up. We come down here, we find crashed Pelican. They clearly landed here somewhat intentionally. They've actually got stuff distributed relatively sanely. They laid out all their gear and ran off. Hey look, 8-gauge shells. No shotguns here, unfortunately, but maybe that's a sign something fun is about to happen. And if we go in here and listen... Is it still playing? I don't think it is. Wait, there it is. Yes, if you stick around and try to listen, they don't say exactly what's going on, but they say enough to let you know this went wrong. They've been attacked and... it doesn't seem like it's these guys. They're here, but something is just not quite right, isn't it? I said I would talk about what the games actually mean to me, since basically the theory is laid out. You know what I think about this, that, and everything else. So what's left but to tell you what you don't already know, because I haven't really been prompted to, what specifically I feel about really specific elements of the game again. I've kind of broken my own intentions to a large extent in making this and just not talked about the game as it's been unfolding in front of me, but yeah, let's do that right now. This level was... I should say, the trajectory with which I played this game as a kid, I was 6 when I got the Xbox in this game. The trajectory with which I played this game was weird. I started with level 5 because that's where my dad got to playing this game in his own time. And then from there, just messing around with that level, maybe messing around with one other one, I eventually tried to start again from the start with my own file. And that means, you know, going through the ship and stuff, and I could do that okay. Something I remember is being very confused at the start when you have no gun and you have to get to the bridge and there's like, hey look, a human gun. But where's its owner? Anyway, I remember being confused when you get no gun because I'd been playing the later levels in the game and was used to being able to shoot the aliens. I was 6 and I didn't get it, and like there's a part where you have to walk up to an elite and you don't have a gun, and I didn't want to do that. I spent lots of time trying to like find the way around, and I didn't want to get attacked by an elite when I didn't have a gun because that was scary. But anyway, I eventually did work up the courage to try going near him, and of course he gets chased away by marines and you keep going and get a gun later. And then Kid Me was basically good. I got up to level 5, and it's rather stupid now. You might have seen in the last level where there are just like arrows on the floor directly telling you where to go, but I still got lost in the big concrete rooms and went backwards and forwards and stuff, and I thought the hunters were hard to fight because I was an idiot and I would like, you know, think I needed rockets to kill them and so on, and then I just like quit and go play the levels that I thought were more fun again. It took me forever, but I eventually beat level 5. And then I got to this level, and I got stumped again, kind of for 2 reasons. One is, of course, that, again, I got lost because this level does go into concrete later, and the other is that, frankly, it's weird. The first time I played this, I was alright, and then I basically got lost and stopped. And then when I went back to this level, my courage somehow started failing, and I genuinely found it scared. I may have mentioned scary. I may have mentioned in another video how, like, that stupid video, how Halo was the scariest game ever and broke me is absurd because it's a grown man and so on. Just basically trying to cannibalize more and more video games into creepy pastas because that's how you sell on YouTube. But no, this did, if you were like a 6-year-old in 2003, this could unsettle you a bit. And now, of course, it doesn't scare me, but I appreciate it as basically like a cool scenario laid out using distinctly Halo parts. Like, if you've seen other YouTube videos on this or just seen in V-threads, you'll know what I'm talking about, where like, if you were watching my motion tracker before, it had a friendly blip on it, but in that direction there was something that didn't really look like a Marine running in the fog. And we would have seen it a lot more clearly if we were on Fern Vision, because 343 are goddamn idiots. Look how colorful this is. We're in a fucking jungle, not a swamp. Anyway, yes, this is a very cool and clever setup. Maybe you already know what's coming. I'll just talk about it as it starts happening rather than saying right now. But yeah, maybe you're not paying attention. You're an idiot like I was when you were 6 and you don't even like really realize anything is wrong yet. But there are a lot of signs that something is not going 100% here. Like, where are all the elites? Why is it just like jackals and grunts who seem disorganized and just like, what the hell are they doing here? Why are these guys just running around like spazzes in every direction with no idea what's going on? Where is Captain Keyes? We can't even find dead Marines. And here is signs of violence, and yeah, if I went straight to this door, you'd actually see assault rifles and being fired out of it and grenades being thrown up at the Covenant, but yeah, where exactly are the Marines? This is a bit weird. If you're a kid like I was, then you don't really care. If you're an adult like me, you know the tropes, and of course you know the game as well. This is just a very neat, basically cinematic movie game sequence. Which leads into a thought I have a lot, but I don't think I've said here, which is this game really doesn't get enough credit for basically being the best fucking like movie game first-person shooter ever, where like every lame meme about like how you're meant to do a scene, like show don't tell and all that, like Halo is doing that to an insane degree. Like everything that makes Half-Life a like ludonarrative masterpiece, whatever the hell, like yeah, Halo is very much a kind of conscious successor to Half-Life and in my opinion better in every way. People will say Half-Life is better because like, oh look, I can hop and I can swap my guns like 25 times a second. Look how hardcore this gameplay is. I have more guns at once. That means the game is better. Look at me do this. Look at me. I swap. I fire. I swap my gun again. I fire. I'm jumping. This is so hardcore. I'm so bald, but I'm cool because I played a 90s video game. That's my impersonation of RPG Codex, by the way. But yeah, this is just looking at this as a kind of mature adult who likes all kinds of movies. In addition to video games, I also have better taste in movies than you. This is just really cool. Like, they're taking cues from Half-Life, from Aliens, from a whole bunch of different stuff, and this is just really fucking cool. Like, again, we walked into a cool setup scenario where all these aliens, they weren't ready for me. They were all, like, waiting outside a door. What are they doing? Something is up here. And bang! Hey, look, a bridge is broken. What a shame that a maintenance failure happened to occur here. Or did it? Why would a bridge be down? Maybe it broke, or maybe someone broke it. Was that someone trying to slow the Covenant down, maybe? Or was that maybe the Covenant trying to slow something else down? What am I saying something? I of course mean someone else down. But yeah, it seems like these guys are kind of confused and leaderless, like they lost a lot of people. They seem to be trying to defend doors, and a bunch of bridges are knocked down. Cortana seemed afraid of something. Let's keep knocking down all their defenses and going deeper into this place. You can maybe tell that basically the setup of this level is horror. Sorry, let me just quickly make sure I'm recording still. Yep, I'm just paranoid but wanted to sort that. Yeah, we're in a kind of, horror is the word that people use, and that's maybe misleading in the sense that it's just like it suggests an intention to scare, and I'm an adult, I'm not scared now, so am I really going to say they failed? No, I'd just say, like, maybe more than horror, just consider it an evolution of the science fiction of the premise where they've basically got a weird, unreal idea and are playing it very straight in the realization, and I think that's very cool. One moment, I'll just pause here. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, just, this is a very... Think of it as a kind of science fiction premise that we're able to explore from inside rather than, just reading about it in a book, though many of the Halo books are good. This is just a very novel way to see something done. It's a whole horror scenario or science fiction scenario created within an engine which is ostensibly just built for shooting things. But of course, if we're really serious and we know our stuff, the Halo engine wasn't even built for shooting things. It's the Myth engine, and it was built for basically complex physics interactions and NPCs doing stuff. Holy mother of God, is that bad? Yeah, I won't do that to you again. The Fernmate graphics in this level are just ungodly. It goes from like utilitarian kind of prison-like design to like gaming PC levels that are unheard of. And yeah, here is more what the fuck is going on. Look, green flaky spores of something, which are almost invisible in Fern vision. Good God. But yeah, again, when I was a kid, I didn't really notice anything here because I was stupid. Not stupid for a 6-year-old, just stupid because I was 6 and couldn't really read the room. And what a room there is to read now. These guys were guarding this door when they came in. They didn't have any mind of things coming in behind them, and yeah, it looks like crap in this mode, but holy God, what happened to this guy? I didn't do that. You come in here and oh my God, there's just blood everywhere, and a barricaded room with more weird green flakes, and holy shit, it's full of bodies and gore. We don't know what happened to those poor guys. And where are the aliens? Hey, look at that. It's another distribution of gear, just like we found outside our stuff. A bunch of abandoned gear and blood and no bodies. And everything is arranged defensively, and looks like that didn't work out for whoever was doing it. Now... Oh, I forgot about this guy. Hey, man. With subtitles on, it's a bit... I think you're meant to be too startled by this guy to really get what he's saying. It's a bit on the nose if you can just read it all. Yeah, if you read this guy, what happened? Like, oh no, zombies or something took us. Monsters, the xenomorphs from Aliens finally came. Like, yeah, these are the Marines from Aliens, so that kind of means, like, were they built to fight intelligent humanoids? Maybe not. Sarge, Mendoza, and Vicente. How about Keys? That's the guy we're here for. Anyway, lots more chaos, and we found our first Marine who is not having a good time. This is a very cool and elaborate level. This is not a gameplay challenge, we aren't here to do that. This whole opening sequence of the game is just, okay, let's just have like a movie game sequence. This is like the tram in Half-Life, only it doesn't get acclaim because RPG codecs are very, very insecure people. And every predecessor to them. Or was RPG codecs around when Halo came out? I don't know, but basically anyone who was like a gaming guy when this came out gave it no credit for these kinds of things. The argument wasn't, oh, it does this, but it's not to my taste, or Half-Life was better. Like, they wouldn't even acknowledge it. It's very absurd. Even people who are relatively intelligent just... This game really just upset a lot of people who really just, frankly, just didn't like the idea of a console doing well, and were very primed also for the idea that FPS was hard, and that's why they decided it was good. It's just, yeah, how do we make it? It's not a new problem, people deciding that what they like will be their identity, and that's how they're going to talk about it, and they're going to get personally invested in, well, how something feels to you should be personal, but basically they were personal in the worst ways of being emotional and irrational, and not personal in the ways that matter, like it means anything of interest to them, just, and like denial of that even, like Seamus Young, a man I consider intelligent, he died, rip. He wrote some sort of well-known gaming stuff now and then, like some amusing stuff on the Fallout games and the Mass Effect games and how they got stupid. But yeah, he wrote about Halo, and it's basically just RPG codex brain of like, why can't I carry 8 weapons? Why can't I bunny hop? This isn't Quake. Why didn't they make Quake? I miss Quake, Quake, Quake. I'm sad. I'm old and bald. Quake. And it's just kind of a mess to read and makes you think like, geez, this game really did just get to some people and make them crazy. Okay, this is something I'll maybe give them some credit for, like a weird vapor in there. That's an effect. They tried. I don't know what it's meant to be, but they did something. Anyway, yeah, so how did I feel about this? At this point, I'm still oblivious if I'm 6, and if I'm now years old, I'm just having a good time just admiring the scene as it's laid out. This is something Myth did as well, to a large extent, and why I like Myth, that when they're being smarter, a level is less of a challenge and more a unique challenge and more like a unique scene, and that's basically what a level-based video game should be, in my opinion, and the better ones remember that, and gamers who aren't stupid will probably treat them as such. But yeah, this is a very nice game. This whole level is not trying to fight you as a game. If you put it up to Legendary, it'll give you a bit of a fight, but no, this whole sequence is just basically a horror movie playing out within a video game engine and doing things a video game can do, like hiding details, showing, not telling, and so on. And yeah, I just think it's really neat. And look, another pile of blood, violence has happened, and look, a Marine who didn't make it. What happened to this guy? Well, this is a very interesting part. I hope you like this, and I hope you can hear it. I won't talk too much over it. Yeah, here's where kid me started to think, wait, is this not for kids? Of course, Halo up to this point was perfectly satisfying to 6-year-old me. Because what's not to like? You're the cool, invincible guy in the army, and you get to blow things up, and everything is bouncy and reactive and fun, and oh god, what happened to this guy? That's fucking awesome. Lots of weird custom animation and rigging for this scene, I'm sure, because basically nothing the Master Chief does here is stock. Oh wait, there it is. He crouch walks in the normal way, which is funny. And then enters another custom animation to do this. Jenkins, I think our crazy friend mentioned him. Look, Chief is show not telling some emotion. He shook his head slightly and was unhappy to see Jenkins didn't make it. But look, now we get to activate his GoPro and do like a retrospective aliens attack sequence.
Why do we always have to listen to this old stuff, Sarge? Watch your mouth, son. This stuff is your history. It should remind you, grunts, what we're fighting to protect. Hey, if the Covenant want to wipe out this particular part of my history, that's fine by me. Yeah, better it than us. You ask them real nice next time you see them, Vicente. I'm sure they'll be happy to oblige.
LZ looks clear. I'm bringing us down.
It's very simple, but I think they do a good job of like doing a weird jerky head cam here. I don't actually know how they did that, if that's just like Joe Staten manipulating the camera with like real-time mouse movements or something. If he did, that's really good. It's very well done. Joseph Staten in the commentary track for this game, him and a few other lead developers, he's the guy who, in addition to planning and writing, actually physically constructed the cutscenes in the Halo engine. So, like, you know, these aren't rendered from scratch. These are all done in-game, which raises interesting questions of, like, okay, how do you do a first-person cutscene? Is this just, like, a free-floating camera with a... just like a free-floating camera with a filter across the screen, which he's just moving like it's a guy's head? That's my best guess. But yeah, now I've got a custom model of an elite who got torn open, and yeah, that looks like something out of the movie Aliens. Isn't that funny? The aliens are getting attacked by aliens. Maybe.
Covenant Patrol. Badass elite units. All KIA.
Covenant Patrol is KIA before we got here. But there are bullet holes in the wall, don't ask. Maybe they killed some grunts, I don't know. But yeah, they have an experience kind of like us where they find a lot less stuff than they thought they would.
I'll try, sir. But it looks like these Covenant worked pretty hard to lock it down.
Just do it, son.
Just do it, son. Will say the voice acting is very good in this game in the sense that really most old games were better than current ones, I believe, just because, yeah, nobody here is doing voice acting. They're just people who basically talk like humans or maybe a bit like they're joking around. No one has like weird grating actor sensibilities where they just sound like a knob. It's all just very normal. A lot of these voices are guys who were in Myth. Presumably they work for Bungie. Actors they grabbed, I think, were theater actors. And yeah, this scene is about to get a lot more. Stuff is gonna happen.
Corporal, do you copy? Over. Mendoza, get your ass back up to second squad's position and find out what the hell is going on.
It's genuinely something I never thought of until now. How the fuck is he like doing this camera? Is it like attached to an in-game entity's head, or is Joe Staten doing this with the mouse? I don't know. And by the way, if you didn't know, Joe Staten directed Halo Infinite. The whole game wasn't his idea, Microsoft basically called him in to save it. And oh god, what are these things? Giant little... what are they, like crawly prawn things? But yeah, they look silly, but these guys are having a bad time. They seem to be jumping on our marine friends, and oh no, there's blood everywhere. That situation got out of hand, and his helmet doesn't even know what happened to poor Jenkins. Wounded, incapacitated, killed, it doesn't know. And yeah, the Master Chief is realizing that we are in that room where they just got attacked. So yeah, they just took away all of our friends, and now we're stuck in here. They came out of here, there's the debris, and no sign of anything left of anybody but this one guy who fell on the door. And maybe he was just there to distract us now that we think about it. And oh no, here come the little head crabs. Again, it's kind of Half-Life influence. Everyone called this game a rip-off of Quake for whatever reason. Nobody really thought to call it, like, what do I call it? Either just a straight Half-Life successor or competitor, or a kind of fusion of Quake and Half-Life might be a better way to put it as well, but yeah, this is basically a movie game doing the cinematic action with not too many breaks or anything, just like Half-Life did, and yeah, if you ask me, they have a lot in common, which first should have invited parallels, and second, just, yeah, I think the Halo case is a lot cooler. I think that these are better than the head crab zombies. The idea of them just, like, swarming and taking away soldiers is really goddamn weird. And again, the fact it's all, like, rendered and done for real. Half-Life, I think, kind of a point against it. The head crabs don't actually, like, grab people properly. They just, like, jump at them and punch them, basically. The kind of impact of the idea of the head crab is perhaps undermined because you don't see them grabbing people. And I'm not going to say that Valve, like, didn't understand this principle, because they did it with the barnacles where, like, in-engine they actually grab and eat people, which I think makes them, like, kind of unsettling and weird. Like, the NPCs, like the guys who are actually running around in the game space, get physically grabbed up by these weird bungee cord mouth things and just yanked out of the room and eaten, and then they spit out bones, which are physics objects. That's fucking weird. And yeah, I think, like, in line with the principle of doing that, they should have, well, I understand they couldn't. How many goddamn games have I made? But it would have been rather neat if, like, you could actually see the head crabs, like, biting people in-engine. That would have been fucking weird. And, yeah, that's something Halo eventually did. In this game, They don't overlap the Flood and Marines very much, presumably because it would have been quite hard to make elaborate interactions between them, but where they do, it's okay, and by Halo 3, they're actually doing what they are meant to do, like in the lore, which is the little ones grab onto people and actually transform them right in front of you, and it's very bizarre looking and weird thing that like doesn't happen in any other video game, and it's quite a striking effect. Again, like you can talk about NPCs like actors, you can talk about things that happen like effects, why not? So let me just make sure we're still recording. Yeah, we are. I think I'm going to try to finish another level tonight. I'll be good to you people. Especially after the last one. I hope I'm making a much better line of thought for you to follow today. And look, that other body's gone. Were they trying to lure us down, or is that just Bungie level scripting weirdness? We don't know, but neither answer is a mark against the game. It's just a cool sequence of stuff playing out. Nothing too difficult to fight right now, but man, if you're 6 years old, Halo just got weird, didn't it? And yeah, when I was 6 years old, first time I was just so into the rhythm of like, okay, pull my trigger and I'm safe. But then this, oh shit, I forgot about this. Here's the Covenant trying to hold their own against a goddamn swarm of them. Yeah, and it's cool that that happens in-engine, like you can see that their physical strength just sends the goddamn guys flying, and you might just laugh down at the grunts getting like mulched down there, but then they're actually, yeah, they can jump the whole way up and get you. Oh, and I fell down. Great job, Anthony. But yeah, even if they don't have weapons, these guys are no joke. They can jump higher than anything else in the game, and they just punch you like a goddamn truck. But yes, they're also stupid because they are weird flesh zombies. And it's more obvious in higher difficulties where what you choose matters more, but the way that they are impacted by different weapons is different to the Covenant because, again, they're flesh zombies. Like the plasma weapons which burn don't really bother them because they're just basically reanimated dead bodies. They don't really feel this too much, but then your ballistic weapons, these human ones, will have a kind of more violent impact and just physically rip them apart, whereas the Covenant ones are just burning dead flesh. It's quite cool. It kind of recontextualizes all the weapons, just more variables you have to take into account. That, and again, it's a reason why the game doesn't give you every weapon at once. It's not because the game isn't as cool as Quake. It's something you have to think about. It's sort of like almost being like modular, like, you know, building a robot in Armored Core or something. Like you can only have so many capacities at once. Like if I have this assault rifle, it's a ballistic weapon. It can fire a lot without reloading. It will do lots of damage to unshielded flesh. It gives me that capacity. And then, you know, any other weapon I'm carrying with it creates what we could call another loadout or build or whatever. If you think of it as like a From game, it's my build, which 2 guns I'm carrying. And the idea is you're just constantly thinking about that and shifting, and I find that really cool. It obviously deserves credit for that, and it's a subject which becomes more interesting just because the Flood, that's what these guys are, by the way, if you didn't know, they're just another big variable which can potentially massively change everything, every encounter for the rest of the game now. We're not done with the Covenant. The game is going to be a mix from now on, which is why I call the last level your final exam against pure Covenant. The classic Grunt Jackal Elite lineup is not the game anymore. The game from now on is a kind of crazy clusterfuck of every Covenant and the Flood fighting each other and you at the same time, which I think is really cool. Now back to some Bungie history again, just to talk about their sensibilities. In Myth 2, they make a level which is basically the this one of that game. There's a level in Myth 2 where they do this quite well, I think, for a strategy game. There is a level where basically the danger escalates, and what's going on is they want to introduce a strange new enemy, and you might think it's hard to like do that in a scary way in a strategy game, but they do it quite well. One of the game's few like really Hello, you lost your big punching arm, didn't you? Yeah, I don't like how you look in the update. There we go. Yeah, but you can kind of see what he is. He's still got the little parasite embedded in his face. That's like his feeling organ now, and then the rest is repurposed body. This guy was an elite. That's where their bodies went. And if they have no guns, you can make them harmless, which is quite funny. Bang! Poor buddy, we're just going to abuse him now. Yeah, one of the game's few cutscenes, they actually got an anime studio to do the cutscenes for Myth 2, which is quite cool. There's a very brief but kind of weird, uncanny, and cool scene where it's basically the like leadership of a city being told that like these weird new monsters you've heard about are like in the city, it's time to fucking go. And these guys just like quickly whisper to each other, then leave out the back of a room. Oh, look, more Covenant, they aren't all dead. And then they like quickly leave out the back of a room, and then a moment later, this giant, bizarre-looking thing, you only see it for a second in the cutscene, just like really quickly enters the room and just looms over everything, and then it cuts to the level. And so it's just a very weird visual. It's animated in that weird way the Japanese do monsters, where it kind of like... It looks like something out of Blood Sea, if you've seen that anime. That's a very Anthony Core anime. If you want a recommendation, I enjoy that one a lot. Just, if you... there's a way that giant, uncanny monsters can be done in anime that's really goddamn cool, and yeah, that's how it looks in that, and that's how it looks in the cutscene. That anime, I mean, and yeah, and then it cuts to level, and it's another in-engine cutscene of the kind Bungie prefer. Oh man, we were about to get out of this place. Whoops. Good God, did anyone play the game in this mode? Yeah, so then you get an in-engine cut to the like streets of this big city where the people are fleeing, and you get an army of your conventional units controlled by AI with a fixed camera over them, and this weird big new species of monster. And you see an army of your conventional units that you've been using all game just get like completely wiped by this monster as it appears in the game engine. It just fucking levels an army. They have like no chance. And then after they're all dead, the camera pans off to the side of area of where like the cutscene ended, and it's the soldiers you have control over now. And you know, the game just shows you enough to say like, okay, here's your soldiers. You have about as many as just got wiped out by these monsters with like no losses just about. And you have to get all the way across this city to a boat, and that's when the game will count you as having beaten the level. And yeah, that's like Myth 2's horror level, and I think that's just amazingly executed in practice. I might even make a video just showing off that level after this, just so that you can see what I'm talking about. It's not too hard to record Myth on this. And yeah, this is like that again, where they've done a big dramatic reveal of a new enemy before in their games, and yeah, I think that on some level this level is like a thematic echo of that, and I have seen it said before. I think it became like a minor like silly regurgitated meme, like the Black Company, for like Myth and Halo, the relationship between them, that like, yeah, Halo might have been cool as a strategy game, but like the Flood reveal couldn't have been as good if it was a strategy game. But like, no, if you actually... Also, just isn't this a cool image, this grunt bioluminescent blood in this elevator, and you want to go up to get out of this place, but it takes you further in instead. Oh yeah, and we have the shotgun now, which is fantastic for the rest of the game. It's just like the best weapon in this game. It's kind of weird that they keep it back this long and make it this strong, but you know, it feels cool, so who cares? And it's just another way that the second half of the game becomes novel. It's the half where you have the shotgun, and you'll want to use this pretty much as you can because it's awesome. And maybe an assault rifle. The pistol is frankly not that good against the Flood, just because you need more fast damage that isn't necessarily strong. But yeah, people say like, oh well, this game, like, it's kind of a meme to play it up now, like, oh well, the most like striking and memorable sequence, the whole Flood reveal level, wouldn't have been the same if it was a strategy game. Like, no, play Myth 2. You might be surprised at how well Bungie could just like do different kinds of cool stuff in different engines and with different tools. They made a very cool horror scenario just using a strategy games engine before. Look out, Marines! And yeah, here's 2 Marines who are still alive, and let's see if I can save any of them. I said that there's like basically no engagement between Flood and Marines. This is one of 2 moments. These guys who are pretty much meant to die at this point in the level, and there's another point later on where we meet more, but yeah, they're doing their like panicked run cycle and so on. Yeah, this is basically meant to be an interactive cutscene where the Marines die. You just see them getting like wiped out by the Flood in the game's engine. Again, it's basically the same way that they showed off how cool the reveal monsters in Myth 2 are. They show you their in-game power by like just making you watch them shred NPCs you're familiar with, but yeah, in this game you can actually save them, which is cool. It doesn't just like bind you there in place, like make you watch from behind a locked door or something. So we can save this guy, and the Marines do have their own lines for this level where they talk about how terrified they are. And yeah, I just think that's a really cool thing, but yeah, because this guy's job is basically to die to demonstrate the power of the Flood, he doesn't follow us through the level, so I'm not too fussed that we lost one. Also, just if you didn't see there, the Marines can carry shotguns, and that guy had one, but the Flood shot him. But yeah, I'm glad I saved one. And yeah, we'll see a bit more later of Marine interactions with Flood in a way that's interesting, but yeah, there's just a few, and it's not like a gameplay consideration. There's no like, oh, how do we weapon balance the Marines and the Flood together? Like, no, the Marines and the Flood only encounter each other as a kind of like cinematic device, you know, to put it crudely. You know what I mean? To stage a scene, basically. You're only meant to like engage with the idea of them meeting in a cool way, like doing it in-game is a cool way to show off a certain scenario they had in mind. The idea is not like, okay, this is going to be a game thing. We really thought out the idea of you and them fighting, and that was something we wanted to be part of the game. Like, no, it's basically at no point the Marines are a serious consideration in the game. You could beat the whole game without Marines in it, and frankly, like, in a pure mechanical sense, your experience wouldn't be that different. What would be different is just every scene would feel different if those guys aren't running around just basically being... It's just cool to see them. They sell the idea that more is happening than is necessarily. Like, they are just like a walking, talking, occasionally shooting reminder that the Chief is a part of a war effort. He is not in it by himself. And of course, they're also kind of a mechanical toy. It's just fun to watch them run around and do stuff. But yeah, in terms of like the challenge of the game, the like weighted difficulty of every room that you're in and so on, they aren't really a factor. They're just there to be... They're a story element represented in the game. And now we're above that room we were in. We can see our bandana friend is running around. We'll tell ourselves that he finds his way out without us, won't we? I'm sure he can. He seems like a cool guy. He's tough. He survived the last fight. And oh no, they're coming for me, but yeah, we're set to normal. I know this game. We're fine. But yeah, it might also seem absurd that you could get lost, but remember, my trajectory of engaging with this level when I was 6 years old was, I was confident because I wasn't thinking, I was just moving, and then I got lost because, you know, I basically know the game now, but it all looks the same if you basically are less familiar with Halo and you're younger, and yeah, you can get lost in a few levels just because, you know, the criticism isn't entirely without weight that a lot of the game does look the same. Maybe it's not necessarily a criticism though, it's just how it looks. It did cause me some problems, but you know, if you're an adult, that shouldn't be happening. It's just neat, I think, how this whole game looks and works. Okay, we came in through that door, I believe we go down now, but yeah, like, ask a 6-year-old to like know which way I came in through this, into this room through, and which way it would make sense to leave through. I'm going backwards and forwards through doors I've already tried and so on. And you know, as you get lost, you have time to think about the situation. Then it gets a bit spooky. It kind of hits you that you're in a zombie game all of a sudden. So yeah, and then I left this level for a while and eventually came back though. We did eventually get there. And yeah, and then I got into a kind of run that went to the 8th level, and then after that eventually I just, messing around in my own time, eventually just powered through. Or was it in co-op when I first beat Halo? I don't remember, but no walkthroughs or anything. I did beat this game actually navigating it myself and so on when I was 6 or 7 probably. So good on me. And yeah, we're still playing through this now, and as you may have noticed, kind of the sting of the whole like movie game Half-Life setup is kind of gone. And yeah, as I said in the last level, Bungie aren't afraid of giving you like a pure experience basically in this game, and that's what the rest of this level is now, kind of until the end when we get another cool, what they call set piece moment. Isn't that cool? I shot the glass and he dropped. But anyway, yeah, this is just like your Meet the Flood level, so I don't mind that there are just basically sequences of rooms in which you... And don't they look nasty? It's like something out of a Cronenberg movie. But anyway, yes, there are sequences where you basically just get to, yeah, meet the Flood and just mess around with them, experiment with how their different bits work, and yeah, just with relatively little interference or disruption in this level, you just get to see them, mess around with them, become familiar with them. And how is this for a show don't tell Vania-born light? A piece of cover covered in blood where supplies and bodies are scattered, jackals and 2 marines. I think what you're kind of meant to infer here is that the jackals and marines basically were so scared of the flood that they stopped fighting, climbed onto the same piece of cover, and died together. Yes, the flood are very scary. That won't be a prevailing idea in this game. The Covenant are not about to decide we're alright, actually, but it's cool that without having to seriously mess with the AI or anything, I imagine it might be a decent amount of work and raise a lot of questions if they actually did, like, make friendly Covenant for this level or something. They get the same effect by staging that scene and, you know, much easier, and I just say good on them. With 4 placed dead bodies, just as they appear all through the rest of the game, they lay down a pretty solid piece of lore or a story beat, whatever you want to call it. Just very efficient, very effective, very clever stuff. I'm very impressed with the construction of this game, just laying out fairly elaborate scenarios with fairly simple tools. That's something Joseph Staten talks about a lot in his commentary, how he's the cutscene guy, but what that specifically means... Oh god, I'm flashing back to being a kid, I'm getting lost. Oh right, I'm meant to jump across this up to there. So I guess you actually... I guess that's another way that you're meant to actually see this, that you have to jump on it to get up and out of the level. And I just realized there's those little, like, signal things, which they dropped all around it, and it's got the shining needler ammo on top. Good game design, good game design. But anyway, yes, what was I saying? Just Joe Staten talks about constructing the cutscenes in-engine in this game, and that's something I find very interesting. It's just all of the tools of what is just a video game, basically, like tools which are made to line things up and make them shoot at each other, using them to basically stage scenes in a science fiction movie, and by extension that's what they're doing when they like lay out bodies in advance of you. It's, okay, how do we tell our story, sell certain ideas and so on using, you know, the Halo engine? What can we do? We can put characters around, we can make them say things. In a cutscene, we can import custom animations and make characters walk where we want to with a bit of difficulty and so on, and yeah, it's just very interesting staging this weird, like, virtual puppet show to make the story happen in a game. Also, I'm just thinking now, it's weird how those move. Sorry, story is happening. Look, we made it. We're going up an elevator again, and here's our friends. We all made it. And our friend the pilot is talking.
We've been locked in here for hours. How have we lost contact with the rest of
Look, lots of Marines with shotguns. This is a very cool part of the game, I think. A very cool moment. The game is not trying to challenge us here, but this level makes me think about what could be done if they cared to. But yeah, we've got like a dozen Marines with us, and we have to get through some swamp to a tower where our friend the pilot is going to meet us. Okay, Marine team, let's go. Gee, I'm getting a lot of motion sensor pings, Marine team. Are you guys feeling okay? Oh, shit. Look out, guys. Hey, we're doing pretty good, aren't we? There's like 6 of us right here. Yeah, get 'em. Jeez, I've played this part on Legendary and it is difficult. But yeah, we're looking pretty good here at the moment. The Marine squad is just powering ahead. But yeah, this is our great, like the game has one big moment where they put Marines and Flood in the same area, and this is basically your, okay, like this is your zombie movie outbreak scene. And it's all done in-engine, trusting the parts to just interact in a robust and consistent way to, you know, really sell that this is how the pieces of the game behave in an organic way. Like, are the Flood dangerous? Well, just look at this shit that's happening. I feel pretty stressed out. Oh god, no, my friends. And yeah, now we're just like recreating that goddamn cutscene. And yeah, you just saw the swarm of the little ones, and now how many of my friends are left? I did not stage that because I thought it would be funny. I swear I turn around for 1 second, and because they don't have super soldier suits, the unfortunate Marine friends just got absolutely annihilated by a swarm of the little ones. And if they manage to survive that, the big ones still have guns. So, oh god, not again. Oh. Yeah, that's basically this game's like Myth 2 monster reveal. What happened to all your Marine friends? Well, they don't just have to say off screen like Dead Space, oh yeah, sorry, every like competent soldier with a gun just fucking died instantly. No, they actually give you like a dozen Marines and just say, okay, Master Chief, get him out of here. And they all just fucking died in like half a second there because the Flood are actually really goddamn dangerous. I am convinced. I am not thinking like in Dead Space, like, damn, that's bullshit. Really? All the soldiers died? No, they can set this up in engine. And what is happening? Sorry I didn't look up there, but robots started arriving and cleaning up the Flood with lasers, and yeah, then this flamboyant floating C-3PO eyeball tells us, hey, buddy, we have to clean up the monsters. And he seems very professional and calm, and he's talking to us perhaps like we should know what's going on. Why would he think that, of course? Interesting lore implications. But yeah, I hope that was halfway interesting to you. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, but we've played through another level. We could be done with Halo pretty soon, and since I'm just giving you all kinds of things tonight, I will actually go and get that Myth 2 level and record that as well, just so you have it for reference. I won't pin it onto the end of this video, it'll just be its own one. I'll play that level for like 5-10 minutes just to show you what's going on. And yeah, here's the intro cutscene for this level that we aren't going to play right now. Oh, we'll just let it play out. It's your little preview of what's to come. This level is infamous pretty much for meme reasons. It's fine. This is the library, but we'll play that next time. Hope you enjoyed this to some extent. I didn't have as much to say personally as I thought I might have. There are more personal things I could share, but not right now. They didn't come up. Bit of just talking about the game. Whatever. It's an excuse for me to play a video game and talk about it. At least some of you enjoy that. Hope you enjoyed this. Maybe some of you did. I don't know. Leave a comment if you think anything at all, basically. I enjoy reading and engaging with them. Thanks for watching if you did, and yeah, we'll call this one here, and I'll get you that one other video tonight. Thank you.